Hey guys, I'm just going to show you what you'll be able to make at the video. So you can, we did running and rotating with the mouse in episode 1. Now we are introducing hold shift to walk. And we also worked on jumping, setting up our jumping dude. Wow, so neat. And we have the numbers feeling pretty similar to Valorant. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and comment. And click on the bell to receive notifications. Thank you. Hey everyone, it's Ajaxter here for episode 2 of Let's Make Valorant in Unity and C#. Today we're going to be working on setting up jumping for our player controller that we started on in episode 1. We're also going to be working on holding shift to walk. And yeah, that's it for this episode, so let's get started. So if we go to our Unity editor and we go to our player, we'll see that we have a cube. If I were to raise him up a bit and just create a game object under him and then move the game object to the bottom of him, and then we rename it to ground check. This is just, we're going to be creating a little sphere in code that just checks if we're grounded or not, so that we know we can jump, or it is legal to jump now. So let's just bring this guy back to the ground, and let's go to our code. So open up Visual Studio, just open up the player controller class we just started working on. And the first thing I want to do is I want to start breaking out some of this stuff into a player stats class. In Valorant, there's a lot of things that can affect certain stats like movement speed. For example, Sage is slow. So we want a consolidated place for the stats to go so that we can change one number and they can change it everywhere. And if we're working in a studio, in a game studio, and we're working with designers are ultimately going to be the people modifying these numbers, so we want to give them a place where they can just change numbers rather than changing code or having to go through code. So eventually these numbers would probably be on an Excel sheet or a Google sheet or something like that. But anyways, let's go to scripts, or actually let's go back to Unity, and then just under our scripts folder, let's create a new C# script and call it player stats. Okay, let's open that. I just wanted to do it in Unity because it sets up a mono behavior. I don't want to do that manually. And let's start working on this. So we can actually get rid of the start and the update functions. And all we need to do is just start defining some of the variables. So let's start out with running movement speed. This is the normal one, and I'm doing 6F. It feels, or it's the same movement speed we did in episode 1. And then public float, let's say walking movement speed. I did 3F, just half of it. Feels similar to Valorant. I also have gravity, which is going to be negative 21F. In the real world, it's negative 9.8. It feels really floaty though if you have gravity at negative 9.8. Negative 21 feels a lot more snappier. It feels a lot more like Valorant. So, yep. And jump height is the last variable we'll define for this episode. Okay, cool. So let's go back to player controller. Let's define the player stats. We'll be adding this player stats as a component to our player. So let's just player stats equals get component player stats. And we can get rid of this movement speed right here. Movement speed. And another thing, let's go back to our player stats. Let's just change these guys to get private set. I just do this because I don't want them to show up as a field in the editor. I mean, if you like them in the editor, I don't. I only like certain fields in the editor when I need to, like serialized fields, but they also by default put public fields in it. So I just do this so that they don't show up in the editor. It's caused some problems, like if you change this and it won't update or something. I don't know, it's really annoying. Anyways, let's go back to our player controller. Now we have a reference to our player stats component, so instead of movement speed, let's do player stats.running movement speed for now. Okay, so the first thing that we'll do is we can just simply knock out walking. So let's just make a variable up here, and let's just call it public bool is walking. And then I'll also just do get private set equals false, because we always default by we're always default running, right? So let's say is walking, and our handle movement function is walking input dot get button. As we hold the button down, we are walking. Right, so key code left shift. You can choose whatever key code you want. What is this complaining about? Get button. What was I doing? Player controller. Get key. Sorry, not get button. And so right here, the movement vector will stay the same, but instead of doing this clamp magnitude inside this move function, let's move this clamp magnitude up to right here and just wrap it around our movement vector. So, and then comma 1.0f. So now we say if is walking, and let's just and then else. Okay, let's cut this one, paste it in both sections, and then in the is walking section, instead of running movement speed, let's change this to walking movement speed. Alright, so now if we go back into the Unity editor, and we need to remember to drag the player stats component onto the player, hit play. Now we're running around, and then we hit shift, and now we're walking. Okay. Okay. Now let's set up jumping. So that's walking. It's really simple. And a lot of things are actually really simple when you just think about it. Or a lot of things in Valorant, like dashes are just changing the movement speed, right? Or if you're gonna float up into the air, you're really just changing some numbers. You're not doing anything special, which is it's refreshing. Not everything has to be super complicated in game development. So let's make a new function called handle jump input, and let's make a public bool is jumping. Let the get in a private set and false. And then let's make a serialized field, and transform, and then we'll say ground check transform, the thing that we put on the bottom of our player earlier. And then one more thing, we'll do serialized field, and then we'll say layer mask, and then we'll say ground layer. Okay. Next thing that we'll do is inside of our handle jump input, we will have a bool, and we'll say is trying to jump, and then input.get key down key code space. We're only doing key down because we don't care about if you're holding. You can only jump when you put the key down, not when you're holding. So if we is trying to jump and is grounded, oops, we forgot one more variable, is grounded. So let's come up here and I'll just put this above is walking, is grounded. Same treatment as the other public variables. This also means that we can't set these variables outside of the class, which I think is fine, but you can access these variables from outside the class, which I think is actually, you know, is what we want. So is grounded, and then we will is jumping true, else is jumping equals false. Okay. So we'll say if is jumping, we'll say jump velocity dot y. There's another variable that I think we forgot about. Yeah, it's a vector 3. Sorry about that, guys. Public vector 3 jump velocity, and then we can, you know, give it the same treatment. And I can just get private set. Okay, that semicolon. Jump velocity dot y equals mathf dot square root player stats dot jump height times negative 2f times player stats. Oops. Dot gravity, and this is nothing special. This is just a, wait, what does this say? Cannot modify the, because not. What you mean? Equals vector 3.0. Whoops. Did I misspell it or something? What? Oh, sorry. Wait. No, that doesn't make any sense. Player controller jump velocity is not a variable. Is this some like Visual Studio bug? Hold on. What is going on here? Sorry about that, guys. We had to change get private set to system non-serialized, or you can just get rid of that get private set for this guy because it is a struct. Okay, so we can't do this. We can't set a property of the struct because that was a get private set, I guess. So jump velocity dot y equals mathf dot square root. This is just in a mathematical equation. It's nothing fancy. And what's up? Character controller dot move jump velocity times time dot delta time. Okay. Okay. We also need to apply gravity so that if we go up, like say, okay, remember to call handle jump input in the update function. Okay. So it's fine. Is grounded. So is grounded is false. So that's why, so we need to do the check to make sure we are grounded. So in our update function at the top, I just do is grounded equals physics dot check sphere, and then we can say what was it? Ground check transform dot position. Then we'll say the radius is 0.4f. Then we'll say ground layer. So now we go back into Unity and we go to our player. We'll see that we are missing a ground check transform. So let's drag in the ground check, and then let's change the ground layer. Or we need to actually make it a layer. So go over ground layer, add layer, and then we'll say ground. Okay, go back to ground, set it to the ground. Let's go back to the player controller, then ground. Okay, now if we hit play, we hit space, we're just going up in the air. So we need to apply gravity. So we do this by jump velocity dot y plus equals player stats dot gravity times time dot delta time. And we also want to put in a check if is grounded, and jump velocity dot y is less than 0f. Then we can change jump velocity dot y to negative 2f. Okay. So now if we hit play, now we can see that we're jumping around. And if you go on this cube, you'll realize that we can't jump, and that's just because you need to put a ground layer on that cube. So let's go to it in the scene, hit ground. Okay. And now we can hop on it. Cool. Cool. So yeah, that's it for this episode. We built walking, running, walking. We built jumping. So yeah, pretty neat. Hope you guys liked the video. Please subscribe if you like this type of content. Please click the bell to be a part of the notification team to get more notifications about this tutorial series and other tutorial series I do. Like the video if you liked it. Leave a comment with feedback if you have it. I'm trying to listen to all your feedback. Hopefully I zoomed in on Visual Studio enough so you guys are comfortable and able to see. Next video we'll be working on crouching, and the video will just be dedicated to crouching because it's a little tricky. So that's not too tricky, it's just there's some oddities that you wouldn't think of. So yeah, thank you for watching. See you later.